Hi, everybody. Matt Berner here, joined by Mike Beer, taking a look at the DRF Bets race of the day for Saturday, April the 21st. It's the Grade 2 Charlestown Classic. 3 turns going a mile and an eighth down at Charlestown. Before we head on over the field and take a look at this thing, I encourage you to head over to DRF Bets. Get a new $150 sign-up bonus. DRF.com/join is the address. The promo code is TV150. Let's take a look at the field of 7 that will be going the 3 turns down at Charlestown. Mike, it's not a big field, but I think there's some quality in here, and you can go a number of ways if you want to follow along with us in handicap. You can go right in post position order. Go over to the Race of the Day page on DRF.com. You can download the free formulator past performances. The number 1, Mike, Fear the Cowboy. He shows up basically all across the country, comes with a run more often than not, doesn't necessarily win very often, but he's a horse that it's very difficult to throw him out in a race like this.
Yeah, no, I think that's all very true. I don't think it's necessarily that easy to throw out just about anybody here in the 7-horse field. I suppose Fear the Cowboy, what he really needs in a race like this, especially with, the 3 turns and the short stretch is, he's just going to need some pace to run at in this race, and maybe he'll get it. There are a couple of horses that like to show speed in here, but he's just maybe more than anyone else in this field. I don't know if you agree with this or not, but to me, he feels like maybe he's more up against it than anybody else as far as running style goes, because he's probably going to be last when they head up the backstretch.
Yeah, and we've seen over the past handful of years, if you're going to be making a winning move at Charlestown, you got to be getting into the run early. And coming from dead last, that seems like it's going to be a difficult obstacle for him to overcome. The number 2 is You're to Blame for Todd Pletcher. He was a horse with Chad Brown that always hinted at ability, but he could never really get over the hump. Now Pletcher's gotten him in a respectable sort of form, but I'm not entirely convinced that he's fast enough. And most recently, he was handled easily by War Story.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, so far, based on what he's done through 13 starts, that includes the 3 that he's run for Pletcher, I mean, where's his race that makes him fast enough to win this? I don't necessarily see it. When Chad had him, I thought there was a chance he could turn out to be pretty good. Even then, I always felt like he was more of a 7/8 to a 1 mile, 1 turn kind of a horse. The 3 turns of this race sort of shortens up the 9 furlongs for him. I think that sort of works in his favor, but I still don't think he wants to go this far. And, if he doesn't run a career best race on Saturday, I don't see how he wins.
The number 3, Discreet Lover, is wheeling back on short notice. Only 2 weeks ago, he won the Grade 3 Excelsior at Aqueduct with a 92 Beyer speed figure. From a fig standpoint, he's a little bit on the slow side. We also have a negative formulator fact to show for his trainer, Uriah St. Louis, over the past 5 years. Winner last out. Overall, the numbers aren't particularly good. 2 for 63, only 17 of them hit the board with a 54-cent ROI. I suppose the good thing, I've always been a little bit of a fan of this horse, and I think these are the sort of positions where he fits best when he's actually running against company that he actually fits with. But at the same time, I have to be honest, I'm not sure that his best race is good enough to even win this race.
Yeah, I sort of agree with that. I don't think that it is. And I, liked his Excelsior last time. A horse who he really stumbled badly at the start of that race. On the other hand, they did get him out into the clear in the stretch. It felt like on Wood Day at Aqueduct, you didn't want to be inside, you wanted to be outside, and that's where they got him in the stretch. I like the run that he put in. I don't think if he runs his Excelsior back, he's winning the Charlestown Classic, however.
The number 4, Something Awesome, is on the heels of a 100 Beyer speed figure winning a stakes race at Laurel Park going a mile and an eighth. This is going to be an entirely different configuration going a mile and an eighth, but I suppose it's nice to know that this horse can win pressing the pace, can also win from coming from well off of it, as we saw 2 starts back, winning the Grade 3 General George. Is there any concern about being too far off of the pace, considering that most recent run there wasn't much signed on and he was pressing? I'm not entirely sure where he's going to be positioned here. Where do you think he ends up?
Yeah, I thought he'd be a little bit further off the pace this time. Not so sure that's necessarily a bad thing for him. I mean, I think what you really like about this horse, aside from his recent form, where he's 4 for 5 for this trainer, and he did win stretching out last time with a career best figure, it just sort of feels like the kind of horse you could put him anywhere you want in a race. If he gets outrun early, he'll still make a run through the stretch. If they don't go that fast up front, he'll sort of keep close to the pace. Yeah, I mean, I like all those things about this horse. And if he could repeat his last race, that's going to make him pretty tough in this race. And he's a pretty square price on the morning line.
Highest last out buyer in the field belongs to number 5, War Story. We've seen War Story in the past pop from time to time with giant efforts. Again, that challenger here in the 107. 3 starts back, if you believe the 112 that he earned at the Breeders' Cup Classic. he's simply better than the rest of this field. The concern comes down to he's been a bit of an outer throughout his career. He's run well at Charlestown in the past. He finished third, only beating a half length in this race last year. My question for you is, price pending, obviously, which war story are we going to get? The good one or the one that can be beaten in a race like this?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that is the real question with him, because you don't always know what you're going to get from him. In a lot of ways, I know that he's second choice in the morning line, and he's going to be one of the favorites. I thought that maybe he deserved to be the morning line favorite in the race. I mean, I do think he has the best race available. I don't know if he'll run it in here. I thought he ran fine in this race last year over a wet track. And he's just one of those horses who, when he does show up, he'll be very tough in a race like this. I have no knocks on this horse, and I think he should be the favorite in here.
Let's take a look at the Timeform US Pace Projector, because Diversify is going to be one of the favorites in this spot. There's no question about it. And as far as the race shape is concerned, he's very likely to be out there on the front end. Irad Ortiz retains the mount for Rick Violet. This is a horse who was a Grade 1 winner of the Jockey Club Gold Cup last year. May not have been a stellar addition of the Jockey Club, but at the same time, that this is a horse that when things go his own way on the front end, he can really make fields pay. Off of a little bit of a layoff, I suppose that could be a little of a concern. The 3 turns, we'll find out if that works for him. If he's allowed to dictate things in the front end, he can get brave.
Yeah, his speed makes him very dangerous in this race, and if he's just going to clear off on the lead like the pace projector sort of indicates that he can, I guess he'll be tough to run down. It all comes down to, I guess how ready he is off the layoff. I'll suspect going for 1.2 million. Rick Violet's probably got him about as good as he wants him to be for this race. So we'll just see what happens. I'm a fan of Diversify. I don't know how good I really think he is. I know that he won the Jockey Club Gold Cup last year. That was a nice win for this horse. Other than that, all of his other fast races, basically against New York breds, where he just dominated on the front end. We'll see if he can do it in the Charlestown Classic. I'm not way against him, but if you told me I just had to take one of the 2 favorites, I think I might take War Story over this horse.
Let's take a look at our picks for Saturday's DRF Bets Race of the Day, the Charlestown Classic. You're going to go to the outside runner, the number 7, a Fleet Willie, who he can do basically anything that's thrown at him, and he can win from different positions on the racetrack.
Yeah, those are the things that I liked about him. I know he's more of a, sort of speed type horse, but I like that. I think he'll be forward in this race. I don't think he has to necessarily go up there and go head-to-head with Diversified, but I think he'll be close to that horse all the way around the track in here. Just a horse he's won 5 straight races routing on the main track, 7 of his last 8 routing on the main track. I mean, he's just in really good form, and included in that sample is that Richard Small Stakes last November at Laurelville. I mean, this horse totally blew the start of that race, and it didn't really affect him at all. He still managed to overcome it to win. I'm just hoping that at a price in this race, he gets the right trip, and maybe he's right there at the top of the stretch with a chance to take this thing over, and then we'll see if he's good enough, because maybe he's not good enough. I'm going to take a shot that he is, though, at over 10-1.
Mike's going to go with the Fleet Willie. I'm going to go with something awesome. I just like the tactical ability and the ability to adapt to different pace scenarios. The great unknown for many of these runners, a couple of them have tried Charlestown, but the great unknown is going 3 turns at a mile and an eighth. Some of them can handle it, some of them can't. We'll find out which horses are able to successfully adapt to the configuration. A Fleet Willie for Mike, something awesome for me in the Charlestown Classic, race number 11 at Charlestown Saturday evening. That is the DRF Bets Race of the Day. Again, if you're playing the DRF Bets Race of the Day, DRF Bets is the only way to do it. Head on over to drf.com/join. Use the promo code TV150. You will get a $150 sign-up bonus. Scheduled post time for the 11th at Charlestown on Saturday is 5:36 Eastern. Good luck.